Welcome to Your Two Cents, where we tell you our opinion, then ask for yours. So it appears that search giant Google has bought Boston Dynamics, a military-grade robotics company. If you're unfamiliar with their work, well, Google them and watch their videos. It's really cool stuff. But besides wanting some cool robots, why would Google be interested in a military-grade robotics company? Do you guys have any thoughts? Dan, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, actually, when I read that, I thought the very first thing I thought is, oh, they're going to use it to kind of get more detailed with their map service, so they don't have to have people on, you know, the cars, on the bikes, walking around with those big round cameras sticking out of their heads or something. Mm-hmm. And I thought that's the perfect adaptation for those robots would be doing it for maps, right?
I don't like when you use the term adaptation with robots. That sounds very Skynet.
It is Skynet.
They're going to learn. They've adapted. They've grown stronger.
I figure by the time Skynet actually comes, realized I'll be dead anyway, so I don't care if you guys get enslaved. It's all right.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the videos, all their stuff, it's like autonomous walking robots, like bipedal and quadrupedal, and like you can shove them, and they like, and then they come back at you. You know, it like looks really creepy. I insist everyone go watch the video if you haven't. It is creepy. And so yeah, Dan, when you said that it would enhance their mapping, that's what I thought too. Like, because you can't drive a car into a building. Well, you can drive a car into a building.
People have.
They don't want you to, but I don't think Google's going to drive their car into the building. So like, you know, you load up these guys, and now you don't even need a driver, and they could just like kind of creepy crawl all around every sort of building, like inside of a store or maybe your apartment. Maybe we can have, you know, Google apartment view, you know, without having to hire all the people to do this either.
Well, see, that's what kind of that's the plus side, right? The mapping thing. On the kind of creepy side, it's like, I don't want to open up my window and see this thing standing out in front of my house just staring at me.
Again.
Again.
Holding up a boombox, playing in your eyes. That's weird.
That happens all the time. I don't know.
Louis, what do you think they're going to use these guys for?
I think they just wanted to steal the attention from Amazon. They're like, Amazon, you could keep your little toilet paper delivering robotic mosquitoes. Check out these robots. Check out our robots. That's what Google is trying to do.
Wow.
Wow, that's a pretty hefty price tag for one-upping Google.
It's Google. I mean, come on, it's Google.
Right. Well, I
think it is kind of interesting because, like, so essentially this makes Google now, I think, like a military contractor, no? Because
well, they did say that they are going to fulfill the military contracts that Boston Dynamics had already with DARPA and whoever, but once those are fulfilled, they are not going to pursue any further military contracts. Which
or
led,
so they say.
But it kind of led me to wonder, in kind of like a suspicious, I don't know, what's the opposite of a conspiracy theory? Like, what if Google saw that there were military applications for these robots and decided to buy the company to prevent them from making robots for the military because Google has foreseen a Skynet future and are like, well, we're going to buy them and remove this from military operation so that won't come to that.
So that we have the power, so that Google has the power.
Right, yeah. Right. So, you know, another thing I was thinking is that, you know, every business is eventually supplanted by something new, given enough time. Like if you remember back in the day, we all used AOL, and we thought that would never go away, but it does. So is this maybe Google's insurance against the day when people stop using Google? And by that I mean they'll have enforcer robots that arrest or kill anyone not using Google.
Do not use Bing.
Exactly.
Must use Google.
Yeah. I don't know what possible other applications could there be for this. I mean, we do know that Google is working on autonomous cars, right? So having robotics that are like self-correcting would really help that along. But as for their end game, I don't know. Unless they just think robots are cool.
You know, I think this is kind of a natural evolution for Google. I mean, they have been getting into all of this. All right, at the risk of sounding too Ridley Scottish, like this sort of urban terraforming, you know, like going out, and so it just seems like getting into the robotics aspect of it is just a natural evolutionary stage for them. And as they move forward, I mean, I could honestly see a lot of hardworking American jobs getting taken away by the robot invasion.
By weird four-legged walking,
Yeah, I mean, definitely that, and I also think Google's going to go in the route of iRobot, where like iRobot's like, oh,
Yes.
buy a vacuum, the vacuum's your robot. Well, Google's going to say like, you know what, buy our robot. Don't buy a computer, buy Google Glass. And if you do want a laptop, buy a robot instead. The robot will help you when you're at home. That's way in the future how I see things.
I think that's totally feasible, Lewis. I really do. And I mean, as cheesy as iRobot was, it's not that far of a stretch based on, current robot evolutionary things that are happening right now.
You guys think that Google's far future ideal for the home is for, instead of having a desktop computer, on top of your desk sits a little robot that just kind of sits there until you're like, okay, robot, Google for me when the next movie is showing, and it'll be like, do, and then it'll pick you up and carry you to the movie.
They'll call it like your digital assistant 2.0, something like that.
And I mean, between whatever they're going to do with this and Amazon's drones, it does kind of look like we're looking at a very possible future that is full of robots. Right. I just kind of hope that I live to see it, honestly.
I do too.
You better believe I'm going to have a crowbar in one hand if it does happen, just in case. All right, well, what about you, viewer? How do you think Google is going to leverage their acquisition of Boston Dynamics? Tell us in the comments below. For DealNews.com, along with Luis Ramirez and Dan Ledbetter, I'm Jeff Summergy. Goodbye.